So we're going to start with Windows Deployment Services. So once your server is started, you're going to go to Server Manager and you're going to add roles. And you're going to select Next, and you're going to look for Windows Deployment Services, which is at the bottom of the list. Now at the side there's a description so you can see. You make sure and select Deployment Services. Select Next, Next again, and you need to ensure that the deployment server and the transport server are both selected. Move on to Next and you install. Now while we're installing WDS service, we can go to My Computer and we can add the images of the operating systems to the desktop. I already have my folder linked, so we go into My Computer, close these services here, and we go back into My Computer and we're going to search for .wim. Sorry about that. Wim. And we're going to see two files pop up. What we're going to do is we're going to copy these files and put them in a folder on our desktop. New folder. And we're going to place those two images inside this folder. We're putting it on the desktop because it will be easier to find. Of course, you can place it anywhere you like. It does not have to be on the desktop, but I've chosen the desktop for the sake of this tutorial. And we see it finishing up here. We're going to close this. And remember, our services were just installed. We select Roles, press the drop down, and you're going to go to Windows Deployment Services, and you're going to select Servers. You're going to select Servers, and you're going to see it's not configured, so we're going to go to More Actions and Configure the server. So you're going to select Next. We're going to select Next again. We said yes, and we're configure DHCP, and we're going to respond to all known clients. And we're going to select Next. Now the reason we're responding to all known clients on the network is so that every computer on the network that is connected to the server would be able to receive whatever it is you're trying to deploy from the server at this point in time. So we're just going to wait for these to finish. And we're going to add the images now, of course, and now we have to search for the path. This is why we put them on the desktop, so it will be easier for us to find. So we're just going to continue along, selecting Next, and it's going to add the image. Now this may take us some time based on whatever it is you're trying to add to the service. So we'll see you when this is completed. Now once completed, you select Finish, and if you select Boot Images, you will see where the images that you have just copied have been pasted. So we're just going to check Install Images, and we see Image Group, and we see the images there. You go to Boot Images and you check, and you see it's been added today. So the next process is going to involve a client machine. So what we're going to do is we're going to use VirtualBox, and this server, as long as your DHCP has been set up correctly, we're going to use it in order to deploy the operating system that we just had. So basically the server is going to install a fresh operating system on the virtual machine as long as it's connected via the DHCP. So we're going to move to that step next. So we're just going to name it WDS VM. You select Next and you allocate some memory size. Upon completion, you select VHD, which means virtual hard disk. You're going to create, and as simple as that. Now what you're going to want to check is the network connections for your machine. You're going to need to make sure that the network connection is correct based on the connection of your server. It needs to install. So we're going to press cancel here, and we're going to select F12 as soon as we see the machine. We're going to select F12, and we're going to select L. Now, if your DHCP is giving a little issue and you're realizing that you're getting an error, what you can do is to check and see if your DHCP is giving out addresses. So you go to DHCP, you open IP version 4, and you check the scope and you select address leases, and you will see if your DHCP is giving out addresses. And once that's completed and the boot, once your DHCP is giving out addresses and you are connected to the network, you're going to be greeted with these two windows, and we see that the DHCP is giving out addresses. There's the address. There are a few configurations that are slightly different when you're setting up the operating system for the first time. So, of course, you see Windows Deployment Service. You're going to select Next, and you're going to type in the name of a user on a domain, but you have to remember that you are on a domain and you're trying to install from a server. So you're going to need to type user2 at and the name of your domain at the end .com. Don't forget. So in this case, it's user2 at server.com, and we're also going to type the password for this user. Now, creating users is something we've done in earlier videos, so just check those videos if you don't understand. You select Next, and you make sure that it is the correct disk that was created, the virtual hard drive. You select Next again, and it's going to wait for the server to initiate your session to install. And once it initiates your session, it's going to begin installing the operating system on the computer. And once this is done, it begins installing the operating system. Thank you all for watching. Hope to see you guys again.